High-grade Gundam Astray red frame. Hey, what's up again, everybody? It's Robert184, 2Rs2Bs, Gundam Reviews.net, here to wrap up my look at the high-grade Gundam Astray red frame with the flight unit, as you can see back there. If you saw the parts, well, there's lots of gimmicks and lots of fun, so let's see how all the blades and the Baku heads and everything's all going to go together for this very cool-looking MS in its new high-grade form. And when he's all put together, I have to say, as always, for these new high-grade seed kits, just wow. I mean, look at how many colors there are. It's just an absolute Christmas tree of red and white there, minus that little bit of green there on the top of the head. But the black and the gray and just the way all the colors are popping out all over the place, even going to the trouble with the backpack there. But all the Astray parts are exactly as they should be. I think the shoulders look fantastic. The seal looks good down there. The hands, yeah, they're missing the individual knuckles, but they're still looking good for high grades. These two white seals, I think, do add something, even though this one coming around that has the third seal up at the top, like I said, I'm probably going to take that out. Probably the only disappointing thing is the backpack, well accurate, is definitely going to be very, very small there, as you can hardly see the beam sabers over the shoulder. It's definitely only going to get overpowered when you add on the flight unit. With this character being practically a samurai, you'd think he'd be nimble and light on his feet. Well, anyway, for the legs, you can see the bend there is looking pretty impressive. Off to the side, full splits are possible, and the ankles, as you saw in the parts, move very, very well. One solid piece at the bottom. The hips swivel forward and back, and for the waist, yeah, you can do that. You can actually crunch forward, look up in the air, and he'll actually stay in place when it's off to the side. For the shoulders here, you can see that they're only going to come up about this far. It just seems to be a limitation in the way they're built. And forward, you can bring them like this, so really nothing to write home about at all. The arms, yeah, they'll go around as you'd expect. And the shoulders, I still haven't taken off that ugly seal, will rotate. And the elbow, two bends, looking very impressive. It would be 180 if that shoulder didn't come up and get in the way. And the head is going to be moving impressively here. At least, well, it's just going to be simple, but at least looking good doing it. And the backpack, like I said, is going to be barely visible, but it does have a little bit of wiggle there, so you can try to make those beam sabers somewhat visible. Arming them up just means putting that part into the back of the elbow, and you can do that on either side, and then with this grasping hand, it's time to get the BR in place. But this just wouldn't be the red frame without this part clipping on and hopefully staying in place. So forget about Final Fantasy VII Buster Swords here. This is the red frame that I remember. The shield is looking great. The fact that it's not sealed up is definitely a good thing. The beam rifle, simple, but at least the color is going to stand out in his red hands there. But it's definitely got to be the scabbard and sword there that just look fantastic. Love the red stripes. The back part there is actually looking pretty good. And that extra seal, you're going to see a little bit of gold just glint around. And the fact that I painted that up and they give you nice gray seals really helps this guy's look hit home. Height comparison now next to the blue frame in his most classic form, now finally home in HG. And of course you're going to feel right away that the red frame is going to be a lot smaller. Legs, well, it's going to be helped by slightly skinnier feet, also a little bit lower there. He's got a lot less on his back end, and just the fact that he's got those smaller shoulders. Everything about him, it's almost going to look, you wouldn't say gaunt, but he's definitely going to look a little bit more athletic compared to Guy in his much more big suit, and that's only going to be amplified by his big antenna-like head and all the extra cheek padding that he has in the blue frame. And somewhere there's a fan from the early 80s saying that, you know, they just don't make MSVs like they used to. Personally, I think both of these guys look great together, and it's the kind of thing that you really want to see them face off in Gundam Breaker, or at least if you just ran this guy out as part of the Yak Guy attacking Gundam vs. Gundam. And sometimes it's hard to imagine that Seed was over a decade ago and the red frame is joining the ranks of a veteran MS here compared to the newer kits, this one also famously in red from Gundam Age, the Zedora. And for the Battle of Manga Gaiden Longevity, well, you've definitely got to give the edge to Lowe in the red frame. For the posing, he's incredibly cooperative there. The ankles are going to get where they want to be. So far, the sword is not in the way. Twist the shield as you want, but staring down the barrel there, sometimes it just seems a little bit not like Lowe. Coming across the body this way, I tried to bring that front leg back, but he really doesn't want to stand up. But you can use this kind of trick if you want to show off the sword just a little bit more. And really, remember, he can get pretty fierce, especially if his friends are in trouble. And it's easy to forget that he's got regular beam sabers back there. They are the flat 00 variety. Just seems a little bit preposterous. Why reach for those when you've got something that's just so much cooler down there on your left hip there, Lowe? And yes, he learned something from his older brother there, this Domon did. Anyway, leg pose aside, this is exactly how I'm probably going to be showing him off more often than not. Getting ready to get the Gabura straight out there. You can have the hand, it's going to rest somewhat on there. And it's sort of cheating, definitely the hand doesn't have the right grip, but you know that he's about to. And though you can't get it all the way out there the way that I had it, it's the exact kind of pose like this. Honestly, if this guy did not come with the flight unit and just came with the sword, a little bit of paint and that decent looking scabbard down there, this is more than enough for me to want to buy this high grade. Positive verdict already, and there's still more to come. And with the ease of high-grade posing, he's going to cooperate no matter where you want to get him. Really, it's the kind of thing that there's a million of these different sword poses that you can pull off, every one of them satisfying. This is what you call fun play factor. I'm going to get that Gabura straight out of there, otherwise I'm not going to stop posing with it. Here you can see that I've just taken the grasping hand and you put that gray part on there and you go for this. And actually, once you do that, this is on there pretty good and solid. Which just means that if a shiny silver sword isn't enough fun for you, you can go and have this angry dog head. Don't mind the silly pose there for the legs, but it actually fits in there very solidly, and with the double beams coming out, that definitely looks like a melee weapon that would push anybody back and would make them think twice before nearing this angry junk dog. But what is the name of this kit? Is it Red Frame, Silver Sword, Silver Samurai, Angry Mad Dog? Nope. Don't forget here, if you can take this off and not break it, you've got a flight unit that you can attach on there using that nice little polycap on the back. Cue the Ale Strike music. And though he doesn't quite have either of the Master Grade Ale Strike's launching pads there, if you can just imagine he's ready to take off. Just awesome here on the rotating bases. You get to see those gray details Bandai went to the trouble of putting on. The white seals do not take away from the kit at all. I was really worried they would, but they just blend in very nicely with the red on the shoulders there. Remember that you can go and attach the weapons on there for more fun, and with a little bit of movability there, it's not going to stand out as much as the Ale Striker pack, but the fact that it's coming big over the shoulders means you're definitely going to be thinking M1 Astray, which is exactly the kinds of connections that you want to be making with all of these nice seed MSVs and grunts. And just for kicks, if he's gonna go face guy, why not do it with the entire kitchen sink salvaged and attached onto the body. The shield and the BR, they're going to be attached on very nicely there. You'll just want to twist them in position so they don't get in the way of the wings. The scabbard, the Baku head, everything is going to be working together. And don't forget that this guy has even more parts. Between the backpack and the regular old, easy-to-forget beam sabers, I think he's got enough blades in his hand as it is. Even guy in his big one there is probably getting worried. No verdict for this. Don't forget you can check on my blue frame for more details. But ultimately, what are we talking about here for negatives? Well, the hip armor, yeah, easy to fall off, and the scabbard doesn't help there. And whenever you're getting this many seals, I think that the blade, the actual Gabura straight, the samurai blade, is going to be looking pretty poor if you put the silver seals on there. And I don't like the fact that you've got to put gold in about 15 different directions if you want to go and cover that part up. So in terms of negatives, that's probably the biggest knock against this. And the details in the head that would look awfully plain unless you go in there with some proper black inker paint. But if I wasn't sold already, well, you can guess that there's way more positives than negatives. First of all, not repetitive at all. It's a lot of fun putting them together. You'd say half the parts are going to be different from the blue frame. Every one of them a treat, the shoulder construction, the legs, the looks, the proportions, everything about this. And I've got to say that if you're getting tired of master grades that can do about 50 million different things, some of them good, some of them bad, Anyway, sometimes it's just nice to go back to a classic, simple high grade like this. It's designed to move well, but it doesn't move too much. It's not going to be finicky. Every pose that you want to put him in, he's going to get there. And if you want to do a crazy flight pose, go for it. You've got the flight, you know. You want to go fight with a dog? Go for it. Standard armament, beam rifle, shield, boring, but why not? Regular beam sabers, and then the Gabera straight, which I think with a little bit of silver paint is going to be looking fantastic. 5 different attack options, throw them all in there together, and I think that just a lot of things about this were done well, from the fact that you can put them all on here together. No seals needed for the shield, and I'm actually really happy with the seals that they're giving you down there for the scabbard, and the gray ones down there where he's actually holding on to them. They're not going to have any problems. They're not going to peel off when you're putting them into the hand, because they're just on 2 sides. I just think Bandai went to a lot of trouble designing this. And if you want to put in just a little bit of extra work and a tiny bit of paint on the head and the blade, I think you will absolutely love this kit. And the seals, hey, Lowe Junk Guild on the corner. And not just that, but they're bringing new things to the table that we've seen in the anime, we've seen in the games. Everything that we've wanted for the last decade has arrived here in high grade, and you know we're going to want to see it in more grades. So let's talk future, because the red frame already has an incredible Robert ranking, near perfect, only better here with a second high grade. No 1/60th, but how about the perfect grade? Anytime I see this, it just makes you want to have even more accessories, like they did with the Ale Striker pack for the Strike Gundam. They could do more for the red grade, and there'd be people out there that would buy it. Whether the flight pack would do it, but I definitely regret not buying the PG when it was initially released, and getting my hands on that second sword. I think that's the only thing that's held me back from getting this. Probably the top of my PG list, but I guess where everybody's going to expect it to go 1/60th, no, but real grade, it's gotta happen. They're doing Seed Destiny, they're bringing out the new high grades of the Astrays here, so you'd think that they'll keep the focus on HG, but eventually, this guy just continues to sell manga, books, and everything else. So in terms of Gunpla, you know Bandai wants to get him out there in every form. More gimmicks every time he's in a new manga series, every 2 years or so. They're going to be giving him new gimmicks. You've got the tactical arms. Could we get that in PG? What about a PG blue frame? So much to speculate about. I'd love to hear your thoughts down below, but in the meantime, this kit, by itself, high grade, I would pay every dollar for this with just 2 of the weapon options, and never mind all 5. Anyway, everybody, Robert184, an absolute treat putting this together. Hope you enjoy the videos as well. Please let me know what you think, and don't forget to go in GundamReviews.net and vote whether you like this kit on the front page at the beginning, and it'll be in its post after that. Thanks for watching. Stick around for lots more news, reviews, and everything else you can use. See ya. Seriously, you gotta tell us, what's the secret of your spin-off success?